So after the release of The Amazing Spider-Man, fans weren't exactly dying to see a sequel made. The first movie was decent for the most part, but not on the levels of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies. Despite that, Mark Webb and Sony did establish some very interesting ideas that were worth exploring in the sequels, and through set photos, officially released material, and fan rumors, we got a glimpse into just how much more Webb and the production team were looking to expand the world of the film series.
I can totally say that even though I hold a special place in my heart for the original Spider-Man, I loved Mark Webb reboot more.
We see this expansion of the world greatly, especially through the increasing involvement of Oscorp in the plot. Oscorp seemed to play some kind of key role in these films, though we were yet to really grasp it early on. Well, up until the release of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, where we learn how Oscorp secretly watched Peter Parker through his life to uncover the secrets Richard Parker left behind. It was eerie to see just how much data they had on Peter and his family, and the realization that perhaps they knew he was Spider-Man. That plot point got me thinking, how much of my data is out there? So just for fun, I googled my name, and to my surprise, I found my personal info online. Online security is something I've always taken seriously, and seeing my information just out there was a really unsettling experience. Unfortunately, removing this data yourself is often very time-consuming unless you've got help, and that's why I'm happy to announce that this video is sponsored by Aura. Have you ever dealt with non-stop spam calls, scam emails, or weird phishing texts? It's not random. A lot of that comes from data brokers who collect your personal information and sell it to advertisers, scammers, and marketers without your consent. Your name, phone number, and home address can all be out there. That's why I use Aura. Aura is an all-in-one solution that automatically scans the internet, including data broker sites, for your personal information and then requests its removal on your behalf. Aura does the work for you, even after the initial cleanup. It's like having a digital bodyguard constantly scrubbing your footprint. But Aura is not just a data removal tool. It also includes a VPN that encrypts your internet activity, antivirus software that protects your device from malware and ransomware, and real-time alerts if your sensitive info like credit or banking details end up where it shouldn't. If something does happen, Aura includes $5 million in identity theft insurance protection. As someone who spends a lot of time online, I seriously value the peace of mind Aura gives me. Try Aura for free for 14 days by visiting aura.com/warping or by clicking the link in the description. That's more than enough time to see just how exposed your data might be. The development of The Amazing Spider-Man 2 began long before audiences had even seen the first movie. Back in March of 2011, James Vanderbilt was already tapped to return for the sequel. This showed that Sony was moving fast, clearly confident enough in their reboot to begin laying the groundwork for a franchise before the first film even hit. But as time went on, Vanderbilt's original draft would be rewritten. In April of 2012, screenwriting duo Alex Kurtzman and Roberto Orci were brought in to revise the script. However, despite this momentum, one major hurdle stood in the way: director Mark Webb. Around July 2012, Columbia Pictures president Doug Belgard explained that Webb might not return for the sequel, not because of any creative issues, but due to a prior contract with 20th Century Fox. Webb owed Fox a second movie, and unless a deal could be worked out, Fox had the right to block his involvement in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. There were rumors floating around that Fox might let him go ahead if he agreed to direct 2 more films for them, but nothing was confirmed. Thankfully, by September 2012, those negotiations seemed to resolve behind the scenes. Mark Webb officially signed on to direct a sequel without any visible strings attached, reassuring fans that his vision for Peter Parker's story would continue uninterrupted. By October 2012, information about the film began pouring in. Despite plenty of speculation about who the villain would be in the sequel, Electro was being eyed as the main villain, a choice that would soon be confirmed. Actress Shailene Woodley would also be reported as being considered to play Mary Jane Watson.
I'm sure she'll do a fantastic job. Also, wait. Okay, my girlfriend's gone. She's super freaking hot!
Her role was reportedly small, likely being saved for expansion in future installments, though many fans saw her role in the film as confirmation that perhaps Gwen Stacy would die in the movie.
Spoiler, Gwen Stacy is gonna get killed. Now, I didn't really want them to say that's gonna happen, but they basically just have.
Meanwhile, the character of Harry Osborn was also revealed to be a major player in the film, suggesting early on that his presence might foreshadow something darker down the line. Then came November 1st. Rumors had been swirling that Jamie Foxx might be playing Electro. That Halloween, Foxx posted a tweet saying he dressed as the character Electro for the holiday, and on that same day, it was officially announced that he had landed the role. Given the time period before social media discourse became a constant battleground, most fans were surprisingly open to the casting. While some doubted Foxx's fit for the character, others were optimistic, pointing to his strong performances in many films. By November 12th, in an interview with Collider, Mark Webb opened up about several creative choices. He explained that the mystery of Peter Parker's parents, which had been teased in the first film, was intended to become a central narrative across a trilogy. He also hinted at major changes to the Spider-Man costume, describing it as having a more traditional appearance and larger eyes. As for Electro, Webb found the character visually exciting and saw him as a way to raise the stakes, adding that his powers would allow for more dynamic action sequences. In December 2012, more casting news dropped. Dane DeHaan was confirmed to play Harry Osborn via a casual tweet from Mark Webb. Around the same time, rumors spread that Morbius might appear in the film, though this was quickly debunked.
Real quick, I just wanted to tell you, or ask you, did you hear about that Azim Ahmad guy? He's gonna be playing Morbius, apparently.
Yeah.
That's not happening. That's not. First of all, I never heard of the guy. That's why I'm freaking out, because I'm like, who is this Azim Ahmad guy? Oh my gosh. Then I look at him, he looks like he belongs in a Scooby-Doo movie, a live adaptation of Hey Arnold.
February 2013 marked a major turning point. Filming officially began, and Mark Webb began sharing behind-the-scenes content on Twitter almost daily. This created a fun back and forth between the filmmaker and the fans, fueling a steady stream of speculation. One set photo showed a numbered locker, and some eagle-eyed fans thought it looked similar to the one featured in the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, where the Venom symbiote was also stored in a locker. That small detail was enough to spark theories that Venom might appear in the film, an idea that excited some but worried others, especially after the overcrowded Spider-Man 3. On day 9 of production, he uploaded a cryptic video filled with static and glitchy effects. When paused at just the right moment, the video revealed what appeared to be Spider-Man's new lenses on a black surface. It wasn't much, but it was the first visual tease of the updated costume he had hinted back in November, and just a few days later, the full reveal finally arrived. On February 13th, 2013, ComingSoon.net unveiled the official look at Spider-Man's new suit. The design was immediately familiar to comic fans, drawing heavy inspiration from Mark Bagley's version from the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, with bigger white eyes, a streamlined design, and brighter colors. It was the closest Spider-Man had ever looked to his comic book counterpart on the big screen, but the fan response was surprisingly muted. Some praised the return of the classic look, but others criticized it for resembling Tobey Maguire's costume too much, calling it a simple palette swap of the Raimi suit. The texture, raised webbing, and even the colors look similar. with only the eye shape and chest emblem standing out. There were actually people who believed the costume was fake since it wasn't revealed by an official trade or Mark Webb himself. Though with the release of several set photos a couple days later, this belief would quickly fall apart.
I was hoping that they'd eventually make the suit look kind of like Raimi's suit. It's not a complete knockoff entirely, I would say.
They then decided, apparently, certain folks, that this is a complete, total, and exact ripoff of the suit in Sam Raimi's movies.
We'd continue to get set photos throughout early 2013, but in February, we'd also learn some huge news about even more villains joining the film. Actor Chris Cooper was officially cast as Norman Osborn, pretty much confirming that Green Goblin was on the way, which also kinda confirmed that Gwen Stacy would indeed die in the movie. Director Mark Webb also tweeted a photo that all but confirmed that Paul Giamatti would be playing the Rhino in the movie. With Electro, Rhino, and now the Goblin in the movie, fans were starting to wonder just how many villains this movie would juggle. So in March 2013, things got a bit quieter for a while, but Dane DeHaan made a cryptic tweet saying that he was feeling animalistic, which led to a wave of speculation. Some fans even thought he might be teasing that he'd turn into Venom in the movie. There was also a strange but interesting rumor circulating from Tumblr. A user claimed they visited the set and talked to a security guard who showed them behind-the-scenes images and concept art of Electro. They described Electro wearing a full black suit with a thick collar and said his body was completely blue. People were understandably skeptical at the time. It sounded too detailed to be real and seemed unlikely a security guard would casually reveal that. But the user did post a picture of themselves on set, leading to some credibility. Eventually, the user deleted their Tumblr and Twitter account entirely, and later, when we finally saw Electro's design, it matched their description exactly. So, as weird as it sounds, that security guard may have actually leaked the real look. Also, around this time, Andrew Garfield's stunt double, William Spencer, posted a behind-the-scenes image of himself wearing the suit from the first movie. When asked if it was taken during the filming for the sequel, he confirmed it was, which made fans believe that Peter would start The Amazing Spider-Man 2 still using his old suit before upgrading to the new one. Then in April 2013, we finally got our first official look at Jamie Foxx as Electro, and sure enough, he was, completely blue. It was a huge moment that validated a lot of leaks and theories fans had been discussing for months.
I think he looks weird. I don't think he looks like Electro. He looks like some creepy alien.
Reminds me of that song, you know, remember? I'm blue. That's all I'm thinking when I see him. Yeah.
By June 2013, Entertainment Weekly confirmed that Shailene Woodley's scenes as Mary Jane would be cut from the film entirely. The filmmakers felt her storyline would be better saved for a future sequel. Shailene expressed her disappointment, but said she understood the decision.
And it didn't make sense. They're introducing so many new characters. It really didn't make sense to introduce such a vital character to the comic books in a movie that had so much else going on. So they're holding off for future films.
Still, some sites tried to stir drama. MovieWeb, for instance, reported that she'd been removed from the franchise and replaced by actress Sarah Gadon, though that rumor was never substantiated.
Then you might think Gadon is coming in to replace Woodley as Mary Jane. Film reporter Jeff Snyder shot down those rumors, tweeting Thursday, being told the reports of Sarah Gadon being cast as Mary Jane Watson in Amazing Spider-Man 2 are not true.
The same MovieWeb article also casually dropped a spoiler, claiming that Harry Osborn, not Norman, would actually be the one to become the Green Goblin. So this came as a surprise to many fans who had expected Chris Cooper's Norman to take on the role. The rest is history you already know. The film continued its marketing campaign with trailers and TV spots, many of which featured scenes that never actually made it into the final cut. There was even a whole viral marketing campaign running alongside the marketing of the film, and if you're curious about that, I made a separate video diving into all the details.